Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today I am talking about what the third tip or day three. I'm hoping that people are actually trying these tips out. So day one was to excite your sensations. So trying something new on your skin, new scents, things like that. Day two was all about exciting your mind. And day three will be all about exciting your interactions. So again, this challenge is all about just becoming more open when it comes to your sexuality, your interest in sex, becoming more open and being able to know what you like, what you don't like, and being able to communicate that with other people. So, today is day three, and it's all about exciting your interactions. So, what I mean by exciting your interactions is how do you feel about flirting with people? How do you feel about talking to people? And is there any part of that that kind of excites you? Sometimes we struggle because it's like, well, I don't know how to flirt. I don't know how to like be playful and all those things. And so because of that, we kind of hold ourselves back in conversations, either with strangers, with our significant other, with people we're interested in, because we haven't really gotten that flirty, we haven't really learned how to interact in a way that's a little bit more playful and less serious. So that is what this is all about. The challenge is really just to flirt and flirt and flirt some more. So, what does flirt mean? Flirt means that I am engaging a little bit more intense than like a normal conversation. I might touch your arm. I'll give long eye contact. I might play if I have a drink, play with my straw. Just a little bit more intense, a little bit of sexual energy that you're giving off. Not that I want to have sex with you because those are two different things, but you can still give off some sexual energy. One of the things that I tell people often is that sometimes we only focus on flirting with someone that we are interested in, and then we have a hard time with that because if you wait to flirt with someone that you actually like, guess what? You're nervous. You're a little hesitant about what to say. You're not sure if you're a person that's not used to flirting, right? So I think that if this is something that's new to you, you should be flirting with everybody. Like flirt with men, women, as long as you know it's not anything like inappropriate and you're not like pushing up on someone who's not interested. I think it's okay to have like little innuendos and have little conversations because then you get into the habit of it and it doesn't feel so unfamiliar. So that when you find yourself in a situation where you are kind of interested in someone, then you can go ahead and use those skills and not it doesn't feel so unfamiliar where you're like kind of fumbling over your words or anything like that. So some of the ways that you can do that is holding eye contact, right? So even if somebody isn't right next to you while you're talking, if you are talking to them, yeah, focus, look in their eyes. If you say something that could be seen as a little risque or whatever, stare at them and see if they react. But if somebody's across the room or something like that, like holding eye contact, giving a little bit of a smile, being a little flirtatious, even if they're not right next to you. Another thing is to kind of touch them, and even if it's unnecessary, like maybe it wasn't something that was necessary, but you brush your hand across their leg or across their arm. Again, this isn't saying that you need to violate people's personal space, but if y'all are engaging in conversation and it does get kind of flirty, gauge it and see if they feel comfortable with that. Buy someone a drink, whether you're a man or a woman. I know we get into that whole stereotypes and what men and women should be doing, but again, if you're flirting to the point of like I'm just doing this for practice, that means that you have to take away the attachment of what could happen. Like it's not that big of a deal. I'm just trying it out. I'm going to see what happens. Maybe you buy someone a drink and you engage in a really good conversation and you go home and it's perfectly fine. It is okay. Every interaction doesn't have to lead to something. You just need to learn how to have more engaging interactions and more exciting interactions. Again, day three tip is to excite your interactions, not having the mundane, normal, like, oh, okay, how was your day? That type of stuff. How do you incorporate some flirty things? How do you start talking about things that may be a little bit more risque without going over the top? It's kind of an art to it, but it just takes practice and skill and paying attention and being very aware of how you feel and how you see the other person is reacting to it. You can't just say anything and then not pay attention because then you're not going to learn anything. It's important that as you're kind of testing some of these things out, that you are actually gauging what that person is saying. How does it seem like they receive that? Does it seem like they come back and forth? Do y'all have a nice little back and forth that's going on? That's cool. But again, I don't want anybody to think that every single interaction has to have an end goal, because it could be you're flirting, you're talking, and then they're interested. You can say, you know what, no, it was a great conversation, I really enjoyed this, but I'm not interested. I'm not interested. That's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So I want you to take a lot of time to flirt. Another tip, like I said, you can do like the sexual innuendos. If there's things that have double meaning, you can say like, well, I'm 12 years old, or whatever the case may be. You can say little stuff to that person. If you're not a person that's like a blatant, open, flirty person, and then even laughing like playfully or kind of poking jabs and things like that. All of those things can help you in flirting and getting used to those interactions. The reason why this helps, the exciting your interactions, the reason why this helps with becoming sexually free is because we get so restricted in the way that we interact with people because there's a right and a wrong way. And I get that. I know people are talking about the Me Too movement and the times that we're in at this point, and I completely understand and respect that. And yes, we do not want to cross lines. But if you have a flirtatious conversation with someone and they are very clearly not interested, this is where that awareness comes from. This is why you need to start paying attention to other people's body language and the way that they talk and the way they interact with you. If you're able to do that and really understand like, okay, this person is not really engaging in that conversation, then you've done nothing wrong. So it's nothing wrong. I think that sometimes we get so caught up in like, well, I don't want to offend, I don't want to violate, I don't want to, and I get that. But most of the time in a lot of those situations, it's not because somebody said something flirtatious or nice one time and that was it. It's because they kept going and you completely ignored the signs that the person was not interested in whatever they were trying to give. Okay. So I don't want that to be a reason to hold people back. But along with that, I also think it's important that you do kind of flex that muscle, just like everything else. Like it takes practice. You have to learn. If you want to be flirtatious, if you want to become more sexually free, those are things that have to be practiced. It's not something that just comes naturally if it's something you've never done before or something that you struggle with. So that is tip for day 3, is to excite your interactions. Flirt, and flirt some more. Engage with people that you don't necessarily have to see a future with, but that you just want to have a good conversation with, and practice those skills. So again, if you have not, head over to roomforrelations.com and sign up for the email the email course, so you can get all 5 days to your inbox, as well as make sure that you check out the latest podcast at Room for Relations. At the top, there's a podcast button, and you can listen to the latest podcast. And I think that is all for today. So thanks for joining. Again, my name is Ebony Harris. I am the founder of Room for Relations and the host of Room for Relations podcast. And I will talk to y'all later. Bye. Bye, Chris.